So this is Hour of Power with D.E. Wilder, where I am focusing on purpose and praise. And tonight is going to be a fantastic message. You know, we're in the holiday season, and this week is Christmas. Um, it's the season for giving. It's the season of being jolly and joyful. And in reality, everyone should be that way all the time. But this is particularly a special season and a special moment. But there are a lot of people who are not so jolly. There are a lot of people who are going through things. There are a lot of people who are dealing with things in the season of giving. And there is, a lot of external factors that could come into play with the things that people are dealing with and them not feeling so jolly. But there are also internal things that some people are dealing with that they're not only wrangling with, but it has a hold on them. And so tonight's message is being stuck in misery and caught in a cycle of self-imposed limitations. Now, although we're in the season of giving and we're supposed to be jolly, there's a lot of people who can't get there. They can't get there not because of all the different things that are happening to them, but because of all the things that is going on inside of them. This message is going to be a catalyst to help them break free. Let us begin. Welcome back to the Hour of Power, focusing on purpose and praise with D.E. Wilder. I am D.E. Wilder, and we are living life with power, passion, personal growth, and most of all, purpose. Yes, indeed. I'm so happy to be back. Let us give thanks for all things, especially the small things. Let's celebrate the everyday blessings and the beauty of life surrounding us. Let us make an effort to celebrate the constant beauty and quiet miracles. Those quiet miracles which make life so uniquely precious. All in all, let us give thanks. Family, friends, and fraternal souls, welcome back. This is D. Wilder, and today we are diving into one of the most quietly dangerous place a person can live. They can live within this thing that's holding on to them. It's called misery. Not the misery that life throws at you, but the misery that you create. You feed and you reinforce. The misery born from self-imposed limitations. Let's talk about those moments when your spirit feels stuck, your mind feels heavy, and your soul feels tired. And yet, the prison you are sitting in was built by your own hands. If you ever felt trapped by your own thoughts, your own fears, your own doubt, this episode and this session is just for you. So let us have those meditative moments, and let's breathe deep together. Let's breathe in peace, and let's exhale and release. Tonight, we will close the delay. We will break the pattern and we will interrupt the cycle. And we will walk out of misery. One choice, one moment, one turn of events, one truth at a time. So understanding the misery cycle. Misery is not about sadness. In fact, misery is a mindset, actually a mental habitat, a place where you have been living for far too long. This misery cycle has three doors. Number one, fear of change. Two, fear of responsibilities. Three, fear of becoming who you truly are meant to be. Being miserable becomes familiar, and the familiarity becomes comfortable, and the comfortability becomes your new home. Even when it's destroying you, some people don't move, not because they don't want to, but because misery is comfortable sometimes. It's predictable. They know how to live there and remain there and survive there. But they don't know how to thrive outside of it. When you're stuck in a self-imposed limitation, your dreams stop growing and your excuses start multiplying. You start saying things to yourself like, I can't. I'm not ready. Maybe later. What if I fail? And eventually, this is just how I am. But no. Here's another one. That's not for me. That's just who you decide to become when you decide to stay in that miserable place. It has internal change. Let's talk about the change that we put on ourselves. Because self-imposed limitations don't come out of nowhere. Number one, the chains of doubt. Doubt is a liar with a soft voice. And doubt whisper things like, don't try. Don't risk it. Don't dream too big. It has chains of old narratives. The old narrative of some of you are living under stories that has expired many moons ago. You are still believing the version of you that has long gone. That version existed before your healing, before your growth, before the current version of yourself, before your awakening. Chains of perfection. You won't move unless you can guarantee success. Perfection is the enemy of progress, and misery is the reward for waiting on perfect conditions, perfect timing, perfect scenario, and everything to be set up just right. Chains of comparison. When your eyes are on everyone else, when you're looking at everyone else's life, your life stands still. You stand in place. Comparison, and you may have heard this before, comparison is the thief of happiness. Comparison is a thief, it's a robber, it's a destroyer of peace. And you have to let that go. But there's a beautiful part about this. And that is there is a turning point, a realization. And you have to first recognize where you're at and the place that you're in and the misery that you're holding on to and or is holding on to you. You have to realize you built a cage. There is a moment, a sacred moment, when you wake up and realize, I did this. Not life, not the job, not the relationship, not the childhood, not the circumstances, but it's me. The moment you realize that you participated in your own suffering, you also realize that you have the power to unparticipate. You built the cage. You can take the door off the hinges. Let's breathe in. Let's exhale. There is nothing more liberating than taking accountability and responsibility and coming to the realization of your participation. Because then that's when you will have control. Because accountability is not blame. In fact, it's power. It is the declaration that say, I may have built this cage, but I can also build my freedom. So, if one comes to the realization that that's me, I'm in that situation, then the next question is, how do we break the misery cycle? Well, let's start with some things that we can do. Name the limitation. Okay? Name the limitation that you put on yourself. You cannot break what you cannot acknowledge. So say it to yourself and say it out loud. I am limiting myself. This belief is holding me hostage. 2, interrupt the pattern. Misery repeats itself because it is on autopilot. You have to disrupt the cycle that you're in. Here's some things you can do to disrupt that pattern. Change your environment. Change your routine. Change your small habits, especially the ones that are unproductive. Change the conversation you are having with yourself on a daily basis. Even a 2% shift can break a lifelong cycle. That means the smallest shift can start to change things for the better. Feed the future and starve the fear. That's something I want to stay in people's head. Feed the future and starve the fear as we start this transition and shift out of this miserable place. Whatever you feed will grow. Whatever you starve will die. Starve the excuses. Starve the negativity. Starve the I can't. And feed the possibility. Feed the new version of yourself. Feed the truth of who you are and who you are becoming. Move while you are still scared and uncertain. This may be one of the biggest impediment people are dealing with, is they're waiting for the right moment. They're waiting for the right feeling. They're waiting for things to align and be in the field right, and to be right. But you have to move even when you don't know what's going to happen, when you're not sure, when you're scared, when you're uncertain, when you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. Who does? Still got to move. People think that courage removes fear. But real courage is movement in the presence of fear. Don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait for the right time. Move because your soul is calling you to be more and to do more, because you are more. Choose a new identity. You rise when you reinvent yourself. You don't escape misery by changing your circumstances. You escape by changing the you that lives inside of those circumstances. I don't know if you know how powerful that message was right there. Becoming unstuck. The emotional breakthrough. Your misery is not permanent. Your limitation is not permanent. Your story is not done. It's not over. You are one decision away from a completely different life in a completely different circumstances. A decision to stop betraying yourself. A decision to stop settling. A decision to stop shrinking yourself. A decision to stop living like your soul doesn't matter. Let's take that in. Let's have a meditative moment. Let's breathe. Let's exhale. Why? It's a question. Because you deserve joy. You deserve peace. You deserve freedom. But you also have to participate in the freedom that you desire. Misery will let you go the moment you stop holding on to it. For certain fraternal souls, please hear me. You were not born to live stuck. You were not born to repeat patterns. You were not born to imprison your own potential. Today, let's step out. Today, let's decide in this joyous season to break free. Today, you rise into the life that reflects the true you, not the fear. If misery built walls, your courage, your strength, your faith will tear them down. I am here to remind you that your soul is not designed to be limited, to have limitations. In fact, it is designed for freedom and liberation. That's part one of my message, and I hope that touched somebody, because the second one is going to be a breakthrough. Oh man, this message is for somebody. It's going out into the universe. It's going out into the ethos, and it's going to touch somebody's soul. So today we are talking about misery, stuck in misery, and how to get out and how to break free. How to have a new outlook, a new mindset, how to do things differently. We talk about the kind of misery that didn't start with you. Someone here this misery is saying, oh, somebody who's happy. I mean, excuse me, somebody who's unhappy. Somebody who is in a dark place. Somebody who is no, it's actually, in fact, hear me when I say this. It's actually, in fact, much, much deeper than that. And this is why it's so hard to wrangle with and so hard to deal with, because people don't even understand it and don't know that it's much deeper within you. And I'm going to explain why. Because somehow misery has landed on your shoulder. Tonight we are breaking generational misery. Listen, we going there. Those inherited fears, those things that were passed down like doubt, those silent rules your family lived by, those beliefs you didn't choose, but now you still carry. You are pulling those things up by the root, and we're going to get rid of them. Let's start. What is generational misery? What is it? Let's define that clearly, because this is where it's all going to start to make sense. Generational misery is the emotional, mental, and spiritual weight passed down through family patterns, behaviors, and or beliefs. For an example, it's when your mother carried fear and gave it to you unintentionally. When your father lived small and you learned unknowingly how to shrink yourself too. When your family survived life but never learned how to live life. Misery can be inherited the same way genetics can be. Examples: living in constant worry because you saw that worry pattern modeled. Feeling unworthy because no one around you believed that they deserved more. Sabotaging relationships because dysfunction felt comfortable and familiar. Working yourself to exhaustion because rest was labeled by somebody as laziness. Apologizing for existing because someone before you wasn't allowed to have a voice. Fraternal souls, these patterns didn't start with you. But hear me, and hear me loud and clear. They cannot continue with you. We're going to break them. How generational misery embeds itself. Let's get into it. The repetition of pain. Pain repeats until someone refuses to pass it forward. Your family may have normalized struggle, normalized silence, normalized emotional starvation, but you don't have to continue. The silent agreements. Every family have what they call silent rules. Things that are said and unsaid. Things that you become accustomed to. Don't dream too big. Don't question anything. Don't stand out. Silent rules become loud limitations. And what weighs on you is emotional inheritance. People can only give you what they have. Therefore, if they didn't have peace, they can't give you peace. They couldn't give it to you. If they didn't have joy, they couldn't teach it to you. If they didn't have self-love, they couldn't model it. That is just a reality. Let's take that in and pause for a moment, because that's a deep reality. Because at this moment, regardless of what you did not get, you can break that pattern and you can do something different. Identifying the conflict, identity conflict. Breaking emotional misery requires confronting the conflict between who your family was. Breaking a cycle and breaking chains between who your family was and who you are becoming. You cannot stay broke. You have to break free. You cannot stay silent so someone else can feel secure. You cannot dim your brilliance so they don't feel threatened. You were born in the family, yes. But you were not born to repeat your family patterns. You are going to be the blueprint breaker. You're going to be different. So let's think about this. How do I go from where I am, where I come from, to where I'm going? You're going to have to shift and pivot. What we call a soul shift. And there are 4 soul shifts that are going to be necessary to make that ultimate change. Here are the 4 soul shift levels required to break generational misery. Shift number 1, conscious recognition. Nothing changes until you call it by a name. So you have to have these affirmations and you have to say it, name it, say it out loud. This is not my burden to carry. This is inherited pain. It's not my identity. I can choose differently. These are things you must say to yourself until it becomes second nature, until you believe it in your heart. Shift 2, emotional detox. You have to let the old feelings out, even the ones that you buried within you, deep down within you decades ago. Your soul cannot breathe under suppressed emotion. Here are things you can do to detox from misery. I may talk about some of these things all the time because these are part of meditation and part of methods that one needs to realign themselves and set themselves on the right path. Journaling. You always see a pen in my hand because I have to feed my creativity. I have to be able to write or to create or to draw or whatever, design at any moment, at any time. So I would suggest you have a writing instrument somewhere near you so you can write things down when it comes to you, good, bad, or indifference. Emotion. Sometimes we have to let it out. Sometimes it's okay to be angry. Sometimes it's okay to scream. Sometimes it's okay to cry. Because we must release those things. We must speak it out. We must breathe it out. We must pray it out. And sometimes we must sit with it and let it out. Shift number 3, identity reprogramming. You must rewrite the internal script that was previously written for you and replace it with, this is how we are. 2, this is how I choose to be. And whatever was, I'm not that. Whatever was, I'm not doing that. Whatever was, I'm not going back to that. You have to choose it. We struggled. 2, we rise now. We're in a different place. We survived. We're in a different place. 2, we thrive now. You have to have that shift. Shift number 4, generational permission slip. You need to give yourself permission to live differently, to be differently, to be your higher self, to be your better self. Say to yourself clearly, I do not need to repeat the pain I inherited. I am allowed to build a life filled with joy, peace, prosperity, and freedom. I am the generation that will create the turning point. Let's go. Let's keep going. Because when you identify that and when you make that declaration, you are now becoming the first. And being the first is going to take courage. Being the first sometimes is lonely. Being the first is confusing. Being the first is misunderstood. Being the first is necessary. Someone has to be the first who decides all of that was carried generational ends with me right here, right now. Say to yourself slowly, believe me, people, exercise your faith and go deep down in your soul. It works. Say it slowly. The fear ends with me. The silence ends with me. The misery ends with me. The limitation ends with me. The emotional starvation ends with me. The lack of ends with me. And freedom starts with me. Fraternal souls, please hear me. Please hear me loud and clear. You are not just healing yourself. You are, in fact, healing your lineage. You are rewriting the story of those who came before you and those who will come after you. Your courage now becomes your new inheritance. Your peace becomes your new legacy. Your joy becomes your new generational blueprint. You are choosing something new. Why? Because you were chosen for this. This is you. This is your time. This is now. That's why you feel down in your soul. You feel the shift, and you know the shift is happening. That's why your soul won't settle and won't be happy and won't be comfortable in these conditions. That's why the old misery that is pervasive feels uncomfortable. You're not happy with it because you didn't come. You were not born. You are not here now to repeat those cycles. You were created to break them. This is the hour of power, focusing on purpose and praise with D.E. Wilder. And I am here to remind you that your freedom is not just personal, it's ancestral. Therefore, go rise, go heal, go liberate, go become the first to break the generational cages. Go and be what you were meant to be. Until next time, rise with intention, walk with purpose, and live with your whole heart freely. Set yourself free. I hope this message resonated with someone. And if it has, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Remind them that their peace and that their grace awaits. My sincerest intention is that positive energy and unwavering dedication, the one that I aim to project through both my action and my contribution, resonate deeply with each and every one who hears my voice. I hope that our shared spirit serves as an uplifting catalyst for our individual and collective growth, to inspire a collaborative breakthrough, and ultimately to foster a collective success and positive impact. The type of positive impact that we are all seeking in our life journey. Therefore, stay rooted, stay blessed, stay living life with purpose. I am D. Wild, and this is an hour of power focusing on purpose and praise. I hope this message resonated with you. Peace and blessings. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope this message has went out into the universe and touched somebody. And if it has, please share it with someone else. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Enjoy yourself. Be safe. Peace and blessings. I love you guys.